welcome to the Lighten Up podcast with Lauren Polly, your invitation for living on the lighter side of life. I'm Lauren Polly, and I am delighted you've chosen to join me today for episode 158. Quiet, please. Finding a sense of peace in modern day life. I spent an amazing week last week in Costa Rica. I was attending an advanced body class with Access Consciousness, which really just gave me again and again and again a deeper sense of peace with myself and with my body. There's something really beautiful about not just the quiet, but also the stillness that can come just in our physical bodies and our immediate physical surroundings when we're off in nature at a quiet retreat like that. I then spent a beautiful day in a lovely hotel in Costa Rica where I pretty much didn't talk to anybody all day. I laid at the pool and I just enjoyed the day. I enjoyed the air and the nature. I went walking. It was just a beautiful reprieve from, of course, our normal day-to-day busyness. Lo and behold, I find myself back in Los Angeles and, oh my goodness, back to my to-do routine and back amongst so many people, so much stimulation and so much external noise that I'm kind of having a little bit of a interesting morning with it. I know a lot of you probably have this sense a lot, so I got the hit to actually include it in a podcast because I know if things go on for me, they obviously go on for other people. That's the way this world works. And, we don't live in a bubble. We don't function in a bubble. So trying to find a sense of peace, quiet, and space when we are surrounded by other people and surrounded by external noise can be a little bit tricky, a little bit difficult sometimes. So what do? You have the choice, I guess, to go live in a cave somewhere. I was kind of looking on Amazon at soundproofing my apartment this morning. I was building my own little cave in a little bit of a reactive way. Oopsies. So instead, I started to look at what other tools I have available to be able to create that sense of peace and quiet that I'm searching for, even in the middle of a city, even with other people around, even with things to do and people to engage with. How is it that I can continue that sense of peace and ease with myself and my body? One thing that popped when I started to look at that was how much I was allowing the external noise around me to actually encroach and contract my space. This is kind of a fascinating phenomenon, and if you are not used to working with kind of consciousness-based tools in a spacious way, this may be a bit of a new topic for you. To dive into this a little bit more clearly, just take a second right now and tune into yourself and your body. Kind of come back home, so to speak, to yourself and your body. Pull away, if needed, from whatever you've been engaging with, either with your mind, the energy in your body, or your awareness. Pull out and just come back to you. And then from there, can you just ask the energy around you to expand? Get bigger. Kind of like the bubble boy that we've seen in the movie, right? Where he has this kind of protective bubble around him. Could you actually ask your energy to stretch and to move, to pull, so that you have that kind of quiet bubble around you? And you can picture that bubble being full of white light, white noise, silence, peace. And now take that bubble and expand it even more. Bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, more and more and more and more space. When we have these kind of triggery moments where we come back from a vacation or we have some peace and ease, and before you know it, an external stimuli comes and triggers us and gets us contracted, gets us tight, gets us stressed and our mind busy, where we're really doing what I was doing and searching how to soundproof the apartment or wanting a cave to go and relax in. What's really going on is we're allowing the external world to contract our internal world, our sense of space, our sense of ease. And the biggest way to be able to actually create more ease is to allow yourself to reclaim your space. You can reclaim your space by that simple exercise, actually, again, allowing yourself to picture yourself with that bubble and expanding and expanding and expanding it more. The bigger you are, the less the noise actually impacts you. I like to think of it as being really, really contracted and tight and almost protective and defensive against projections coming your way, expectations from other people, just their loudness and their boisterous energy sometimes can be a bit abrasive. When we contract ourselves down, we kind of take this huge sense of space that we have and that we be, and we contract it down to be kind of like a puddle. Teeny, tiny, and then anything that comes into our space feels like a massive boulder hitting and smushing our space. Instead of actually allowing ourselves to be as big as the ocean, allowing that huge sense of space, again, that bubble to expand and expand and expand, when things then come into your environment and come into your space, it's more like a pebble being thrown into the ocean. So you're not small and having something come in that's going to suffocate you or take up all of your space and bring on a big reaction. You're big enough where that thing coming in creates a ripple, you're aware of it, but it's not big enough to smush you. You know, I like to play with these kind of two different imageries, being either that bubble space and allowing it to expand, and then kind of having that water example too, being the small puddle where a boulder lands in you, versus being the ocean where a pebble comes in. Both of those ways in different circumstances create a sense of space for me. So I wanted to pass that along to you all as well. What is it that you can actually be, and what tools can you employ with this? What gives you a sense of space? And what could actually give you the visual that when you are feeling like, oh my goodness, please just be quiet, when you're wanting to pull away, when you're wanting to isolate a little bit, or when you're just feeling not as spacious and peaceful and easeful as you know is possible, what is it that you can start to bring in to actually change that? Asking that question, asking a question, what will create a sense of space here? It may be pulling that bubble of your energy, pulling it so that it expands more and you have more ease and a sense of space that way. It may be having that visual in your head of, wow, I'm contracting myself to a puddle size and here come big boulders that are smushing me. Awesome. I wonder if I went to an ocean and made those things coming into my space more of a pebble, if that would create it easier. It may also be something super practical, not energetic, where, wow, a sense of space is really required right now. I got to change my environment. I got to turn on something different here. I've got to add in my own kind of noise in my own kind of way to block out what is going on around me. None of those things are wrong. You know, sometimes the TV on is enough kind of white noise to quiet your mind a little bit. I sleep with a white noise machine that kind of dulls out any of the noise I would hear otherwise that would wake me up. There are times when maybe you're in an environment that is overly stimulating, and it may be an external noise. It may also be a psychic energetic noise that you're picking up on. You know, we are way more aware than we think we are. And sometimes having a vacation, having a class, opening up to a new space where, wow, you enjoyed a sense of peace and quiet. When you go back into an old environment or just an environment that isn't that, you have more awareness of it. That energy that you're aware of, that ability to pick up psychically on other people's thoughts and feelings and emotions, those kind of ripples that come off people and ripple through your space, sometimes get super intense. It can feel noisy. It can feel too much. And then we want to go into the silence. We want to go into that contraction. Asking the question, what will create a sense of space here? And following your awareness with that will be huge for you. Also looking at what I spoke about earlier, looking to see where you're putting yourself at the effect of it, where you're allowing it to impact you. And it's kind of a fascinating thing, like when you're dealing with someone who's a bit more abrasive or a bit louder, has a little bit more going on, and you start to feel your space contract. You feel your space get noisy. You feel your peace and ease starting to go away. What point of view do you have about them that lets them do that? Where are you giving up your space for other people? Where are you giving up your space due to your environment? And truly, what else is possible to actually reclaim it in a way that will serve you moving forward? Sometimes changing the environment, sometimes leaving for a little bit, sometimes getting more of a sense of space. Sometimes it's playing energetically and just knowing, wow, I'm really aware right now. Cool. I need to expand the space that I am. That will make it easier. Oop, I've contracted into a puddle. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be an ocean. These simple little tricks, if you employ them and employ them consistently, can actually really assist you. You know, this morning I was doing the energy exercise. I was making my space bigger. I was going, wow, the noise coming in, that's more like a boulder right now, not like a pebble coming into the ocean. And I was wanting, of course, to record a podcast, and I can't really do that with a lot of background noise if I'm hearing neighbors super easy. So what did I do? I asked the question, what will create more space and ease? I got the hit to come into my car and drive to a quieter street. Problem solved. There are a lot of different ways you can work with this. The bigger ask, the bigger point is this quiet please, this desire for peace, this desire for space isn't a wrongness. And there are ways to actually create it for yourself. It just may look different than you think it will. Perhaps it is a little bit more of an energy. It's a bit more of a space. It's a bit more of these tools coming into play and how you can use it moment to moment, regardless of what environment you're in. Regardless of where you find yourself and regardless of how much you're getting triggered by the external noise around you. What can you be to find a sense of space and peace and ease for yourself? And where and with whom does that peace exist that you could put yourself in, put yourself around to actually cultivate it more for yourself? Asking what choices you can make day to day to create a sense of space will bring on that sense of peace and that sense of quiet for you. And you may be totally surprised about who and what brings that into your world. What if you were willing to play the explorer with that, to get out and about and actually see what else is possible? I hope you enjoyed this content. Listen again. There's quite a few different tools blended in, and I hope my triggery morning actually contributed to you all moving forward when you get triggered as well. You know, none of this is wrong. None of this is right. This is just the stuff of the world. We live in a highly, highly noisy environment. There's a lot of stimulation. There's constant stimulation. There's always something to do. There's something feeding our mind and our space all the time. Having time to unplug from all of that is super helpful. And then when you come back from vacation or time off in a quiet place, how you kind of plug back in, so to speak, and maintain that sense of peace and maintain that sense of space and actually allow it to continue to grow. That's where the work is. That's where the play and the exploration comes in. I'll be playing along with you with this one. You can always reach out to me at lauren@laurenpolly.com. Let me know how you enjoyed this content and what spaciousness is starting to unfold in your own world. And perhaps what conversations you'd like to hear next on this topic. Have an amazing week. And as always, I will chat with you next Tuesday.